Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the Washington County Board of Education. We have all members present this afternoon, and at this time, I call to order the meeting and declare a quorum. Mr. Michael Gesford will be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This time we will have approval of the agenda for this afternoon. Is there a motion, please? Thank you, Mr. Stauffer. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Zedmeyer. Any discussion of the agenda? Questions? All those in favor of approval? All right, we have a unanimous vote. We have an approved agenda. This is the portion of our meeting where we have public comment. And before we begin, I would like to read from Board Policy KD regarding procedures at business meetings. Each person wishing to address the Board of Education is encouraged but not required to sign up prior to the meeting and may address any topic concerning Washington County Public Schools except personnel or student matters which clearly identify an individual or individuals. Each speaker may speak for up to 5 minutes. The chairperson reserves the right to limit the number of speakers on any particular topic, provided the issue in question has been presented and further comments would simply be repetitious. Following a speaker's presentation, the superintendent may designate a staff member to address that individual's concern or may ask the speaker to contact a particular department or a particular staff member at an appropriate time. During the agenda item entitled Board Member Response to Public Comment, which immediately follows public comment, Board of Education members may elect to offer their own comments concerning topics presented by the public. Each board member will be given 3 minutes to speak and may not transfer his or her time to another board member. A member who chooses to address the speaker's comment will refrain from initiating a dialogue. Any board member may indicate his or her intention to follow up with a speaker at a later time as an individual board member, but not as a representative of the entire board. We have no one signed up in advance. Is there anyone who would like to come forward to speak at this time? No? Okay, so we have no public comment, so we will have no board member response to public comment, and we'll move right into new business. We have one item of new business this afternoon, and that is the appointment of the superintendent of schools and the approval of the employee contract. Is there a motion?
Madam President, I move to approve Dr. David T. Sovine as superintendent of schools effective July 1st, 2022, and for the approval of the superintendent's employment contract, which is for the period from July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2022.
Thank you, Mr. 26.
26, excuse me. I can't read.
Don't take
That was
Sorry about that.
Thank you, Mr. Stauffer and Mr. Bickford for your second.
Can't
Is
believe
there
I did
any
that.
discussion, any questions? All right, then we'll move to the vote. We're voting to approve Dr. David T. Sovine as superintendent of schools effective July 1st, 2022, and for the approval of the superintendent's employment contract, which is for the period from July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2026. All those in favor? All right, we have 4 affirmative. Those opposed? Abstaining? All right, we do have 4 votes in the affirmative, so we do have an approved motion. Congratulations and welcome, Dr. Sovine.
Madam President, if I may just say I'm so excited and to be here, honored to be your new superintendent of Washington County Public Schools. I want to extend my appreciation to Board President Williams as well as the full Board of Education. I appreciate your confidence in me. I also want to take just a moment to extend my appreciation to my support that makes me what I am, my wife Kelly Sovine, and certainly want to recognize, have some familiar faces, former teachers from Frederick County that are here now, Washington County Public Schools teachers, so it's nice to see some great familiar faces there. I'll also just want to take this moment in time to extend my appreciation to Dr. Michael. You all benefited from just exceptional leadership. I know last night had an opportunity to recognize him for his long-standing career, I believe 43-plus years, and certainly as superintendent, working through the pandemic and spending a whole career in Washington County Public Schools. I thank you, and I feel privileged to be here and to have a strong foundation that allows me to begin to work collaboratively with this team. I'll just share with you, I'm excited because through the hard work of Dr. Michael and his team, Washington County and this board, Washington County is a high-performing school division, one of the top-rated school divisions in Maryland, recognizing that we are striving to be the very best. And there are elements of just excellence throughout this school community. Certainly when I looked at the stakeholder feedback, what was very clear, there was pride in the community schools. There was also strength in the number of program offerings, in particular the magnet school offerings that are offered at elementary, middle, and high schools. Just exemplar in the Barbara Ingram School of Arts, and then a career and technical program that's represented in all of our secondary schools and the Washington County Technical High School, just a standard of excellence, apprenticeships, #1 in Maryland. So that standard of excellence is certainly a point of pride. I'll just share with you that I'm a relational leader, as I share with you and stakeholders. I believe in a collaborative partnership with the internal and external community. And while I've had an opportunity to engage with stakeholders and this board multiple times through this selection process, I can share with you that I look forward to July, further engaging with this board, the internal community, external community, and really looking to see what is truly valued in this school community and how we can work collaboratively together to make sure we strengthen those items that are valued. And as any school district, recognizing there are always growth opportunities, and then identifying those 1 or 2 priorities that where we can collaboratively work with the Board of Education and our collective central office and school level teams to achieve the top priorities of this board and school community. It's a pleasure to be here. I just look forward to serving you and this community. Thank you for your confidence.
So at this time, we'll have board member comments. Mrs. Murray, would you like to begin down there?
I would just like to say welcome, Dr. Sovine and Mrs. Sovine, Kelly. We're just so very happy to have you here in Washington County, and I am really looking forward to working with you.
Mr. Bickford?
I echo those comments. It was wonderful to work with a recruiting firm, especially in the fact that we were able to attract so many candidates to Washington County. So it was hard whittling it down to the final two and then to make the choice. But the fact that we have a superintendent coming with 11 years of experience, that's incredible when you think there's 850 superintendent openings across this country. There are many places you could have gone, and you chose to come to us. So I'm very appreciative of that and look forward to working for you.
Mr. Salsa?
I'll make it very brief. Welcome to Washington County.
Mr. Gillespie?
I just have a few notes here. I'd like to thank the community stakeholders who took the time to meet with the candidates and ask their questions, which gave us more insight to the candidates that were brought forth before the board. During a board interview with Dr. Savine, a couple things stood out for me. First was a statement that he made being a rule follower. We had a conversation about this, but then he proceeded to tell us that he chose not to follow a new law in Virginia by the governor. Secondly, when asked about why he would come here, because he just had a recently new signed contract with his previous employer, he proceeded to explain that he loved the challenge and Washington County gave him that, and the money was not a factor. We did have some concerns about the contract, and that's one of the reasons I voted no. So much more that could have been, so much more that we could have hired another teacher for the classroom, or possible 2 more pairs for our classrooms, yet while we struggle to find money to meet our needs year after year. Then I struggle with the thought that a national search was done and only 5 candidates within a 50-mile radius was brought to us. 2 were internal candidates. This, of course, had nothing to do with the candidates, but only to the consultants. I felt rushed to pick a superintendent because of the July 1st deadline. I think we missed our mark on growing our own, as we had 2 candidates, internal candidates, and I'm looking forward to asking the superintendent now to guide them so that we aren't in a situation we don't have backup. I will add, even though we only had 2 candidates in the end to pick from, Dr. Savine is highly qualified and probably will do a very, very good job. I think he wasn't looking for a job, but this job found him. I pray that he will come here, and that's the will. And I pray that he will come in, if that's the will of the board, and support the board's efforts, our staff, and our community values, and build on these principles. I also found that his wife is a lovely person during our meeting. I think they will find many friends here in Washington County, and that the community will welcome them openly. Even though I voted no today, I will always support the will of the board.
Thank you, Mr. Gillespie. Mr. Evans?
Yeah, so a couple weeks ago, there's a call I received from a reporter at the Herald Mail, and I know she's not in the room today. So the question was about our top leadership and some concerns that I guess have been brought up to her, and my response was that there's no doubt in my mind that we have by far the best staff in the state of Maryland, and I meant it. And if I remember correctly in the article, I feel as though there are a couple other board members who made similar comments, and I bring that up because, you know, we interviewed only 2 people. And I struggle to believe that we couldn't find any internal candidates that were neither willing nor worthy of being interviewed. You know, I have very high confidence in our staff. I know Dr. Michael works his tail off, and I know he demands the same of his staff. And I think that we should have given that opportunity if there were candidates internally that wanted to interview. So I am disappointed in that. And I will say that I know we got a lot of public comment saying to trust the process, and for the most part we did hire a hiring firm, a hiring consulting firm that does have a good reputation. I was concerned when I got a couple of comments from stakeholders during the interview days that they weren't able to ask their own questions. They were told they had to answer or ask questions that the consultant gave them. That was a huge red flag to me. And yes, I did vote to hire the consulting firm. Hindsight, I probably would not have. I felt as though that while, what was it, about 3 or 4 months we've been going through this process, that may not seem rushed. It's a long time, but there were many times where we were, I don't want to necessarily say forced because we're our own bosses here, but it certainly felt like we were forced into making decisions with little or no time to digest the information that was given. So I struggle with that. I also have concerns with the contract. There is absolutely no doubt that Dr. Savine is extremely qualified. I don't know that we would have been able to find a more qualified, more experienced person. And Dr. Savine did interview extremely well. I do have some concerns with a couple of the answers, but let's be honest, there's no such thing as two people that think alike. So that's not necessarily a concern of mine. Your experience and your qualifications, I'm not questioning at all. You certainly have that. However, with that being said, we do, like Mr. Gesford said, we haven't been able to give our teachers the raise that they've been looking for or wanted in quite some time. And I do feel as though this contract is a little bit rich, I feel as though that we should be taking care of people at the same time that have been putting in their years of service to Washington County. And nothing against you, but you're just starting. You haven't put in that time yet. So like Mr. Gesford said, I do have confidence in you. I mean, like I said, 11 years in a school system where you did make some great changes. So I do have confidence, but just those things in general, and mainly, I think my no vote reflects the extreme disappointment I had with the process that we took. I don't think that we did that properly, and I hope that in 4 years we're renewing your contract, and my colleagues are saying, "I told you so, Daryl." So. I do appreciate you taking the time to come up here for a meeting, and like Mr. Gesford said, it was great to meet you and your wife. I am hopeful for the great things that I hope will be coming. So, thank you.
Dr. Sedmar.
Let me preface my remarks with this. As a former administrator at Boonesboro, where I interned north in Williamsport, I truly believe developing talent within our system is the best hiring practice. The person on the next rung of the ladder is responsible for mentoring you successfully. Thank you, Peggy Pugh, Rick Akers, Marty Green, Valerie Novak, and April Bishop for the invaluable lessons that have served me well. And it is why I was against a national search for a new superintendent. That said, last night my remarks centered on a 4 a.m. prayer warrior, George Washington Carver, who turned the South's failing agriculture economy around by encouraging farmers to rotate their crops and plant peanuts. Not only a good idea, but a God idea from a man who prayed at 4 a.m., much like we can credit our superintendent. When we had dinner with you, our new superintendent, I was impressed. I asked about your hobbies, and you confided that you walked and prayed at 4 a.m. My vote was secured. The hiccup came when our attorney, the attorney countered our contract offer. For me, it is not about the measure of the man, but spending money you don't have. I don't believe that we'll institute CRT. I do believe that as the new superintendent, you are passionate about providing access to every single student in Washington County and continuing to work with the expert team that we have in place without micromanaging. So here's to a new era of good God ideas. Welcome, Dr. Savine.
Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. With my remarks, I'd like to speak a little bit about the process. We did have a process in place, and that process began with this board coming together to determine the criteria that we wanted for the search. And I'd like to read that, because for me, Dr. Savine checks all the boxes. The candidate must have the background, skills, and abilities essential for excellence in educational leadership. Experience as a superintendent or central office leadership position, working in a similarly sized district with a large budget and similar demographics to Washington County required. Doctorate is preferred. Maryland certification is required. The board recognizes that selecting a superintendent is one of the most important decisions it will make and has developed the following desired characteristics. An educational leader who is guided by what is best for all students, cognitively, socially, physically, emotionally, and academically, and is a servant leader with a good sense of humor and integrity. A visible leader who will represent Washington County Public Schools throughout the county and understands the need to advocate vigorously on behalf of the district in order to procure the resources necessary to effectively support the district's operating budget. A calm, caring, rational delegator who is also a transparent communicator and one who leads with a moral compass as well as proven, effective, and respected leadership skills. A proven educational leader who is approachable and leads by example, inspires and motivates staff, is a great communicator, and has a track record of engaging employee groups in a collaborative and positive manner. An intelligent leader who will listen before making change, but who also possesses the ability to effectively lead change, as well as one who will build upon the successes of the district and has a history of engaging the community and promoting active stakeholder involvement. An educational leader who demonstrates a clear understanding of the role of the superintendent, as well as the role of an elected Board of Education, and is respectful of these roles. As I said, I believe you check all the boxes, sir, and I appreciate the stakeholders who took the time to make their thoughts known to this board by way of the online survey. I thank all those stakeholders who participated in the interviews, and I am confident that we have chosen the right leader to take this school system forward. There are great days ahead for Washington County, and I'm so glad that you'll be at the helm, sir. Welcome to Washington County. I know our community will embrace both you and Kelly. Thank you. Anyone else? You? Have a go, sir.
Well, I want to take the opportunity to welcome Dr. Savine and Kelly to our community. Obviously, I'm very, very proud of our team, our students, our community as it is right now, but also recognize when new leadership comes in, new opportunities come in. So I am very excited to see what's going to happen next. I did not have the benefit of the board with the interview process and all those pieces, so I haven't had a chance to hear a lot about your background other than what was readily available. But again, I'm very excited. You're going to bring in fresh blood. You're going to bring in new ideas. You're going to bring in your past experiences. And you're going to take Washington County Public Schools to the next level and beyond. And I'm very excited about that. And I'm very excited for our community. And most importantly, I'm very excited about our students. I frequently talk about changing the lives of children forever. And I have great confidence in this board. And you can see their honesty, whether they agree with you or don't agree with you. You can already witness their honesty, and that's what I've experienced over the last 5 years. And I've appreciated that. Very upfront discussions, and I think that helps from a board relationship standpoint with the superintendent, but it helps the superintendent operate with the rest of the staff. So welcome, Kelly. I wish you the very, very best. Great things are going to continue to happen, and we're going to go to new heights in Washington County with your leadership, so congratulations.
Mrs., could I just add one thing? I do think it'd be appropriate to also say that I speaking for myself, I would imagine the rest of the board members would agree that I personally wish the best of luck to Dr. Kramer. Dr. Kramer also gave a good interview, and I would imagine that, like I said, the rest of the board members would agree that the experience was just second to none. Dr. Kramer was an excellent man. His wife was great as well. I think they were also both great people, but I do also wish him the best of luck as well.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
I have one correction to your comments that you made. You called it Washington County Technical High School. Last night, we officially changed the name to the Boyd J. Michael III Technical High School, so you'll have to... Can we amend that in the minutes?
Anyone else? Mr. Stouffer?
I'd just like to say this. I hope that Washington County community never gets so provincial or parochial that we aren't capable of welcoming someone new into the Washington County community. Welcome.
Mr.
And a
Kessler, yes.
follow-up, I'd like to thank our staff who worked diligently. Lisa Ram, who was the person that really kept this train moving forward. We have some really great people in our system, and you will get to see that. And I mean, her team, Jamie Brown and Patty, they were just fantastic. So you are going to be blessed, with the people that you have around you. Boyd, Dr. Michaels has, done a great job with that. So, yeah. But I want to thank all our staff, and especially, Lisa for her work, in this process.
Okay, we'll let you have a final word, Mr. Gessert.
Thank you.
And with that, we will adjourn. Thank you.